y'all I have it, and then I'm like, I don't have it. I'm gonna get there to where this is seamless, and y'all are gonna be like, remember when Stephanie didn't know how to use any of the technology? Sad. Okay, now let's try this for the 50 millionth time. Oh my goodness, I had it a second ago. Hold on, bear with me 1 second. Hold on. Let me remove this. Well, how are y'all doing today? Story of my life that like I halfway have it together and then I don't. Okay, let's see. Let me scroll down and try to re-pull up the slides. Okay. Okay. Last week I totally had it. Don't know what happened. Okay, share the screen, application window. Where did it go? Chrome tab, we can wind down, share. Okay, here we go, finally. All right, so thank you guys for bearing with me in my technologically challenged self. So welcome to our weekend wind down, our second one. So I'm excited to see all of you. I hope your week wasn't awful. I mean, the news was depressing. We don't have to talk about it. It's fine. Instead, I figured the theme of this week would be, shams, scams, and scandals. I was going to say sandals. Lord. Remember back when I first did the Kanye video and I was like, oh, should we name the series Entertainment Shams and Scams? And everyone voted for Shams and Scams. And I was like, yeah, never mind. We're just going to do legal shenanigans. Shams and Scams is a cute idea. So we're going to do shams, scams, and scandals today. First, starting with Miss Erika Jayne. Then we're going to talk about that random actor I had mentioned to y'all last week and his $250 million fraud indictment, which is a lot of money. Jen Shah and her alleged money laundering. And you thought that it was over, but the Fire Festival kind of never dies. So we're going to talk about the Fire Festival, which if you haven't watched the documentary on Netflix about the Fire Festival, I highly, highly recommend that you watch it. It is hilarious. I think I might rewatch it because I think we all need to laugh after this week. All right, so let's get into it. First, an update on Miss Erika Jayne. So remember Erika Jayne, we had talked about her. She is on the Real Housewives franchise. I believe Beverly Hills, is that one she's on? Real Housewives. And we had talked about her previously because her husband, who was an esteemed, is still, I guess, his reputation is going through the mud, an esteemed attorney. He basically allegedly scammed people out of $29 million, some of those victims being deceased family members of the Boeing flight. Unfortunately, he has been sued by creditors, by the victims, by any and everybody and their mama. And basically, he is slowly paying up. So what happened now, and what a lot of people have been asking was, did Erika know? They have been married over 20 years. Yes, there's a significant age gap. However, they've been married a long time. And the question kept coming up, does Erika know? Did she know? How did she not know that he was scamming all these people? He claimed he had dementia. So now all that commotion happened that we talked about. So now they are basically, the trustees are allocating the money. They're trying to give the money back to the victims. So far they've recovered $29 million that he, the debtor, which is Thomas Girardi, her estranged husband at this point, because they're getting divorced, had embezzled. So the question came up, and let me, lean in because y'all know I'm broke. Ronald Richards, who is a noted attorney, and he live tweets a lot of things on Twitter, which I love seeing the attorneys on social media, because who would have thought that we would have figured this out? Look at us attempting to use the technology. So basically, the proposed, the special counsel is now trying to sue Erika Jayne. So in the highlighted version, you'll see where they're basically saying, so I'll read for you the highlighted portion that Ronald Richards had tweeted, the debtor. So the debtor, yes, that's what you get named when you owe the federal government money and you owe everybody else money. So that's Thomas Girardi. The debtor is married to an individual named Erika Girardi. Erika, who is not the debtor in the bankruptcy. So she did not have to file bankruptcy. Tom did to pay back all the people that he owes. The trustee believes that Erika is in possession of assets of the debtor's bankruptcy estate and or has transferred estate assets to third parties prior to commencement of this bankruptcy case. However, the trustee has been informed by Erika that she does not have any community property. So community property being like, what do the both of us owe together? What's mine, what's yours? That's when it's a marriage, it's community property. So, realistically, do we really think that she knew something? There have been documents coming out stating that some of the money that was funneled through companies she owned, she stated, hey, I didn't know this all these years. I never heard it, never seen it. Looks like a spicy food to me. Don't know what that is. So that's going to be interesting as this goes on. They are using this in part of her storyline for the show. So Garcelle's just sitting there drinking wine, child, looking at her like she's Boo-Boo the Fool. So this is going to be interesting to see as this continues on. I mean, I find it hard to believe in my personal capacity as a human being with common sense, but that's neither here nor there. So there is our update on Erika and those shenanigans. So the next one we're going to talk about, and I had mentioned this last week. Exactly, Jace. I doubt. So Jace said, Felicity B, I doubt she knew the nitty gritty, but like, she's not that stupid. No one is ever that dumb. No one is ever that dumb. And I refuse to believe anybody's ever that dumb. So, and as usual, let me go ahead and send you guys, so you guys can call in. We'll probably do the call-ins. That one is not much of an update. So we'll do the call-in after this case. And then we'll do call-ins after all the cases. And then maybe in the middle of one. So that way you guys can call in and we can talk about it. So, do y'all know this man? Have y'all ever seen this man? Crickets. Don't nobody know this man. I have never seen this man, never heard of this man. This is a little known actor who got himself into $250 million worth of issues, straight up issues. So, this man right here is Zachary Horowitz. He goes by, in his acting, in the few films that he did start in, went by Zachary Avery. And his acting career didn't really take off for him. So instead of just accepting that, I guess what he decided to do was he was going to open up a venture fund to which he was going to sell licensing deals through HBO and Netflix. The issue being he allegedly didn't have any licensing deals with HBO and Netflix. So he then proceeded to, I have never seen... Sorry to this man. So he then proceeded to allegedly defraud other rich people. To be honest, you shouldn't ever defraud people, but I don't know why everybody just assumes competence out of certain people and they assume certain people are telling the truth. I would have asked some more questions. So what he did was so here we go in paragraph 40. He basically told these people he knew executives at HBO, Netflix, and that he was going to get distribution deals. And with these distribution deals, he was going to make everyone a shit ton of money. So specifically being, let me go back really quick, and I'm just going to walk through with you how distribution deals work. So if you see here, these are promissory notes. So what he told people, a promissory note is simply how it states. So I give you a promissory note and you give me some money, and then I tell you a promise hey, you give me this $1 million in 3 months, all of a sudden I'm going to give you back $1 million in 1 penny. Because if you gave me $1 million, that would happen because I'm not an investor. I don't know what I'm doing. But instead of telling the truth, Zachary decided to tell them hey, I can get you a 43% return, a 35% return. I can get you lots and lots of money. How is he going to proceed to do this? The way licensing deals work, a production company say I make a movie, and I make a movie called Wine and Chill documentary. And this documentary is going to be the best thing since sliced bread, but I don't have any connection to distribution. I'm going to then sell my licensing rights to somebody who has connections to HBO, Hulu, Netflix, ABC, etc. And they're going to broker that deal for me, and then I'll get a cut of it. So there are legitimate brokers that actually have access to these licensing deals. Zachary decided he wanted to pretend to be one. So he then told these other rich people, yes, I have access to all these licensing deals. He made fraudulent documents to said licensing deals and then stated yeah, I have access to these deals. And I know these aren't really great movies that anybody's interested in. So for example, Active Measures, Lucia's Grace, Run with the Hunted, Desolation, Blood Quantum, La Melody. These aren't things that you've heard of. However, he convinced these people that in the Latin American market, these movies were all the rage and they could make a bunch of money by just giving him the money he would then get the licensing deals from HBO. Hi, Brooke. from HBO and Netflix. So he then proceeds to do this, collects millions of dollars from these people, from these investors, promising them 40% returns, which, if you know anything about investing, a 40% return is highly unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's 99.9% unlikely to happen. That didn't stop these people from giving Zachary all this money. So how did he decide to do this? So this is an indictment from the SEC. So he has his first claim, which is fraud in connection with the purchase and sale of securities, which are the licensing deals. And the second claim is fraud in the offer or sale of securities. So paragraph 40, to support his false representations, Horowitz, which is his real name, sent documents to investors that purported to evidence his business dealings with HBO and Netflix, including distribution agreements that appeared to reflect agreements by Netflix and HBO to license rights from 1 in 1 million, that's the name of his investment company that he created, in the specific movie titles for which investors had purchased the promissory notes. So, for example, this is what he did. Among numerous other fake distribution agreements, Horowitz provided investors with the following forged distribution agreements. Distribution agreement with HBO dated June 1st for the movie title Behind the Walls. Distribution agreement with HBO dated May 17th for the movie title Run with the Hunted. So he sat there, found somebody to go and make him fake documents, allegedly. And HBO and Netflix have come forward and said, like, I don't know this man. Sorry to this man. I don't know where he got those documents. We never signed those. We've never seen him before. So he made all these fake documents to get these investors to give him money. So why would he do this? Well, the simple reason is that he wanted some money because he, like we've never seen him. He's a broke actor that no one's ever seen. And he used that money from his personal, this is petty of them to put this in the indictment, from his personal City National Bank account, and the numbers it's ending, Lord, for living lavish, child. Riding around in a Rentley will get you in a problem, but not limited to extravagant trips to Las Vegas, flights on chartered jets, payments for high-end automobiles, and subscription services for luxury watches. I didn't know there were subscription services for watches. That's a very interesting business model. The things that some people pay for always astounds me, to be honest. So for example, just in case, they had to hit it home to tell you, what is this man spending? From 2016 through 2017, Horowitz spent from his personal City National Bank account. What is this number? Hold on, let me lean in because y'all know I'm blind. Oh, I did see it right. $124,582 on trips to Las Vegas. In 2018 alone, among other expenses, Horowitz spent the following: payments to American Express, $1,842,840. Payments to a celebrity interior decorator. Wow. $691,000. I'm in the wrong business. Payments for high-end automobiles, $165,000. Payments for chartered jet flights, $137,000. Payments for a luxury watch subscription service, $54,000. So I'm going to put the link here in case y'all want to call in. But yeah, so Zachary spent his money on everything and anything except giving the money to the people that actually invested his company. So how did this last? Because this has been going on allegedly since 2015, 2016. It lasted because what he would do is he would get new investor money and then tell his investors, look, I made you this money, and then give the old investors the new investor money. Yep. And then in 2019, the investors finally caught on and were like, where's my money? We have this promissory note. Where's my 40%? Or at least I want my initial investment back. And he couldn't give it to them because he had spent the money. Crime doesn't really pay, particularly when you go and buy up everything and spend all of it and everyone knows that you have spent said money. Yeah, doesn't really work that way. So I've put the link if you guys want to call in, if you guys want to talk about Zachary, unknown Zachary, or we will leave him and move on to Jen Shah, which I know that is the hot topic what y'all want to talk about. Thank you. It's actually just a top. So asked if this was a dress. It's a top. I wish it was a dress. That would be really nice. Yeah, I need to find matching pants so I can wear it outside. But for now, I'll just wear it to YouTube. But yeah. So we are going to move over to Jen. All right. So the United States of America versus Jennifer Shah and her assistant. All right. Here we go. So yes, this is Jennifer Shah on both the left and the right. No, that is not her assistant in those braids. That is Jennifer. And, I just have one question as to why she went to court in those braids. in the appropriation braids. And I was gonna really leave the case alone until she showed up in court like that. And I was like, what was the reason, Jen? Why did you know what? So that's why we're here talking about Jennifer. She couldn't help herself. So if you're not familiar, exactly. You know what? To be honest, Jay said the braids are sickening. Part of me, I'm fully annoyed that she has them in her head, her appropriation braids. But then part of me was more annoyed that they're kind of really well done. So, like where do they find these hairdressers? I would gander to guess a Black person did it because they're very neatly done. So I don't know which I'm more annoyed about, to be quite frank. But yep, there she strolled into court with her appropriation braids. So if you're not familiar with Jennifer Shah, let me pull up some things for you. So Jennifer is currently on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So let me start it.
Can't buy the tits because my plastic surgeon retired.
She has great boobs, according to her, So sometimes she's sweet, and then some.
Drown her in the lake behind our house if she wasn't your friend. Pray for me, Britney.
So yes, a mess indeed. So that's I think it's fair to show both sides of her. So why are we here today on this Good Friday talking about Jennifer? So a bit of background into what Jennifer allegedly did. So to back up 2 seconds. It is alleged there are 2 counts against her: conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. So conspiracy means there is an agreement between you and someone else to commit a crime. So you can have conspiracy to murder, conspiracy to anything. That just means me and somebody else decided like, oh, well, we're in this together. We're going to do this. So that's why it's conspiracy instead of just the actual claim. So for a background as to how this came about. So for those of you unfamiliar with the Real Housewives franchise, a big part of the franchise is basically rich people flaunting their wealth. It's supposed to be like escapism, like whatever. Sometimes it's actually kind of entertaining and a little bit funny. So with that being said, one of the big things about the Real Housewives franchise is that they go on these trips. Like it's like, oh, we're going on a girls trip, like whatever. They go on these trips all the time. So they were going to, Gabriel said, conspiracy lady. Bye, babe. So they were going to go on the trip. Her and the rest of the castmates, they're on their way to the trip. Next thing you know, Jennifer's like, oh, my husband is in the hospital. I have to go. I have to leave. See you later. So she then leaves. As she's leaving, she's gone. She's in her car. The women are like, okay, yeah, that's fine. The film crew is there. They continue on their merry way to go on said trip. Next thing you know, who shows up? The FBI. The FBI comes looking for Jennifer. Where's Jennifer? Have you seen her? Do you know about this? Do you know her? We are here to arrest Jennifer. So they arrest Jennifer on her way to wherever. She said she was going home. So, okay, we'll give her that. She's on her way home. They arrest her. The whole thing is filmed by Bravo. All of the people that watch Bravo are, in shock, like, wow, somebody's getting arrested on live. Well, it's not live, but on film, on camera, caught in the act, all the foolishness. So that's the background of how that happened. The second important piece of background is she's getting indicted, conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. So it's important to kind of know how robocalls work. So allegedly, and we're going to go through parts of the indictment. According to the indictment, she was selling leads to people who were then defrauding the elderly, 55 and above, as well as others. So basically, and for $5 million, they're saying it's allegedly $5 million. So part of this is, how do you even get the lead? Today alone, I think I got 4 robocalls. Apparently, in the United States, a few years ago, the Supreme Court ruled that a telemarketer just calling you to annoy you is not a crime, which is why all of a sudden there's a huge rise in robocalls through your cell phone. So with that, they'll call literally about 1 billion calls a month in the United States alone. For context, there are only, I think, 300 million people in the United States. There are 1 billion calls being made. That means all of us with a phone are getting multiple calls a day. As I said, like my 3 alone today. Sometimes I'm getting calls for like, your car warranty is expired. I live in New York. I don't have a car anymore. Okay, cool. They call and say whatever nonsense, right? So what a lead is somebody who stays on the phone long enough for whatever reason to be connected to an actual person. That actual person is going to sell you the fraudulent product. So allegedly, according to the indictment, Jennifer is then selling these leads, these lists of these people. So these are usually vulnerable people, elderly people, people either emotionally or economically vulnerable that think like, oh crap, what if like actually my warranty on my car is expired? Like, okay, let me see on the line. Sometimes they're calling saying they're a debt collector. Like if you know that you're behind on your credit cards, you might think, oh wait, this might be Capital One calling me. Like, okay, let me I'm trying to get my life together. Like, let me see on the line. So they call. There's various reasons why people stay on the line. Selling those leads, it generates money. So allegedly what she did was she sold lists of these leads to then the other half of the scammers who then sell the fraudulent products. So for context, the original indictment is from 2019, I believe, and 9 people have already, they're in the system, they're booked, they've already confessed. So basically somebody snitched on her and was like, oh, it's not just me. You see Miss Ma'am over here on the television pretending to live lavish, her too. Yep. So let's get back into the case. All right, add to stream. All right, so there are 2 counts. The first one, conspiracy to commit wire fraud. So the grand jury charges, overview of the scheme. That's what they call it. So from at least in or about 2012 until at least in or about March 2021 in the Southern District of New York. So that's right around the corner from where I am. So most people have been in front of that courthouse and probably don't know. There's one in Manhattan, and then this is federal court, and then one in Westchester as well. And elsewhere, Jennifer Shah and Stuart Smith, so one of her 4 assistants, she has 4 assistants, is also implicated in this. And also, we can get into separately, like, why does she have 4 assistants? I have no idea. Collectively, the participants carried out a wide-ranging telemarketing scheme that defrauded hundreds of victims throughout the United States, many of whom are over the age of 55. All right. So hold on. I realized I cut it off a little bit. By selling these so-called victims' business services in connection with the victims' reported online businesses, the business opportunity scheme. So basically, like if you file an LLC, something like that, then she would come and be like, hey, you actually need these services too, or you need this, or you need that. It happens. Sometimes people will do it like security systems, because how are you going to know your security system doesn't work if you've never been robbed? You would just assume it's working because it's subscription based. Security systems, it will happen with people that have a debt, because when you have a debt and your credit card is tired of calling you enough times, they will just sell your debt off to somebody else. So they're preying on those type of people who are vulnerable. All right, the next one. So here are the elements of money laundering. So basically, the indictment is going to try to prove the elements. To be honest, since this is criminal and not civil like we're used to, there is no spicy writing. So we might as well go through the boring elements so you know what it is. So these are the elements as taken from Cornell Law. They have a whole Cornell legal, which is really good. They have every single federal statute is on there. So whoever knowing that the property involved in a financial transaction represents the proceeds of some form of unlawful activity, conducts or attempts to conduct such financial transaction, which involves, all right, so A1, with the intent to promote the carrying on of specific unlawful activity. You see laws are written so why can't it just be in plain English? Why? B, knowing the transaction is designed in whole or in part, 1, to conceal or disguise the nature, location, the source, the ownership, or the control of the proceeds of specified unlawful activity, or to avoid a transaction reporting requirement under the state or federal law. So conceal or disguise the nature of, it's alleged in the indictment that during this time, it's not like she signed up and was like, okay, yeah, I'm Jennifer Shah and I own this telemarketing business, I'm selling leads. That allegedly she set up, I don't know why I can't talk today, shell companies, and the shell companies then participated in this selling of the list. So for that reason, which then would fall under this. So on that note, I'll go ahead and send y'all the link before we get into the next part and take a little beverage break, whether that's wine or water. I know some of y'all are going to work. Don't drink wine at work. So, okay. Let me see. Remove this. I'm trying to remove as I go so I don't mess it up. Okay, so let me add this back. So next is the second count is for wire fraud. Here goes Jace. I'll answer Jace first, and then we'll get into the wire fraud. Okay. Hello. How are you doing?
Howdy. I'm good. How are y'all?
I'm glad it's Friday. Praise the Lord.
Me too.
It was a week. It was a week. I was like, we're going to talk about fraud this week and alleged fraud and shenanigans foolery because I refuse to talk about anything more sad.
We love to hear that because, yeah, I need a break from this week.
Agreed. So what do you think, sir?
So, firstly, the shit that people do. Going to the nobody ass actor. Oh, my bad, girl. Going to the nobody actor. How do you get away with stuff like that? Like, how do you get away with stuff like that? Like, you just walk up to people. You just walk up to people and be like, hey, yo, if you front me this money, I'll get you A, B, and C. I'm just like, are rich people just that careless with their money? Because
I would say yes. I would say it's part carelessness and then part hubris. To think that, like, I'm so great. I found this great deal and I'm just going to become so much more rich by doing this.
Because that just sounds like a scam to me. Maybe it's just because I'm poor, but, like, that sounds like a scam to me. Like, so basically is he brokering the distribution deal, or is he, like, letting people in on it? So, like, can you show me the movie? Can you show me numbers about, can you show me something?
So he basically, according to the indictment, doctored all the documents and said, like, okay, the LATAM market, there are 40 million people watching this, and 40 million people watching this means we're going to get this amount of money per stream, and we're going to have this many streams, and et cetera, and et cetera. And then, because there has to be an actual distribution deal between his company, because he's allegedly the broker, and Netflix and HBO. So he then doctored that document, allegedly, and was like, oh yeah, so here's the distribution deal that I signed with HBO. That HBO was like, who is this?
I've never seen this man in my life before.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then on to Miss Shah. First of all, I'm sorry. I'm just upset at how nice those braids look.
They look so nice. They do. Which made me more annoyed.
How dare you?
Because I know braids. I was like, I'm not going to say they look good because I refuse, but they are very neatly done.
Because there have been several situations in K-pop where idols have gotten in trouble for wearing black hairstyles, and 90% of the time it looks raggedy, and it was a Korean person who did it. Not to say that Koreans can't do hair, but the complexities of, like, you don't know hair unless it's your own hair, basically.
Exactly.
And so you definitely know. Like, there are definitely situations where it's like you look, and I'm just like, okay, that was done by a black person. And it will make me upset because you are appropriating, but you look really nice while doing it. And I don't like that. But the things that people will do to live lavishly, I just
don't know why she showed up in court looking like a Blasian woman. That just bothered me. I was like, but you look more tan. You got the braids. Like, what does that mean?
What are we trying to say here? Because
I'm confused.
Because I'm not gonna lie, sis. I really did think that was her. I didn't think that was the same person.
Let's pull up the picture again, so that way, in case you missed it, you too can see that it looks a little different. Hold on. Because her regularly, and then her, in her appropriation braids, looks a bit different.
Over here looking like gangsta Ava DuVernay. Like, she looked like she was.
It's giving Kimora, and it's not Kimora.
It is. Oh my God, sis, it is. But just, so I've gotten those calls before. Like, I'm always getting those, the warranty on your car is done. And I even got a fake social security call before. I remember answering it, and oh my God, I love the gifts on the side. I love the gifts on the side.
I'm learning the technology slowly. I was like, I can animate this. Oh, okay.
I got this. I even got it. And just, this is giving me very, and the fact that she was selling, you know, elderly people's numbers. This is giving me very I Care a Lot. I don't know if you've heard of that movie, but it made like a big store. It made like this big controversy earlier this year, but it's giving me that, but like the POC of color version. And I'm just like, so not only are you out here ripping people off, but then you're going to show up in court
with the
a mess.
Why are you giving them the bun? It just, why are we implicated when we're minding our business?
Exactly. It's not what. It's not,
but why? We were in the corner minding our business.
It's that one clip of Needy Leaks where it's just like, see how I get dragged? I ain't even do nothing. We ain't even do nothing. Why are you over here looking like us? You're not one of us, sis. Are you looking to get some kind of like sympathy from Black people? Because I'm not gonna lie, like literally, when she's wearing those braids and everything, she really looks like one of my cousins, which is scary.
Oh, she looks very Caribbean.
She does.
We're used to that. That's why I was like, oh, sister, what's happening?
She looks, it's scary because like literally I could pull up a picture of my dad's cousin, her name. And like, because even like when I looked at the other picture of her really quickly, she even looked like her too in that picture. But now that I was like eyeballing it, I'm just like, nah, that's not a Black woman. But then the other one, I'm just like, is that a Black woman? And it's just really scary how that's become the trend these days. It's like, you kind of look at somebody and it's just like, are you Black?
She's Tongan and Hawaiian, so I know like there's generally like brown skinned people. And her hair, she looks nice like her natural way. I just don't know what was the need, what was the reason.
What was the reason? You over here looking like a freedom fighter, like you a Black Panther. Like, but yeah, just this is just nonsense to me. Like, I would never think to do anything like this in my life. And part of that is I'm scared to get caught because, you know, I'm Black, but also I'm too smart for that. Literally, someone approached me to do something like this. Literally, the first thing in my mind is I'm envisioning 50 different ways we can get caught.
B. Nicole Wendy Williams calls her Black Jen. What is your purported nonsense?
Wow. Wendy Williams.
Wendy needs to not encourage it. That's probably why she got the very nicely done appropriation braids in her hair.
Exactly. Like, Wendy, sis, we already have a problem with this with the Kardashians. We don't need you encouraging this.
Well, I see some of you are asking about what will be the repercussions for this case. So we'll go ahead and get into that part. Thank you, Jace, as always.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So we're going to go back to, you know, these appropriation braids and this foolishness, child. Okay, cool. So we went through the money laundering, and then there's the wire fraud element. So throughout the whole indictment, you'll see, actually, I can leave it here in case you guys want to read it. It's only 10 pages. This is the indictment if you want to read it. And as usual, I always forget, like I put the disclaimer in there and then I don't do my, I'm not your lawyer, but you guys know this. I'm not giving you legal advice. This is for giggles, for entertainment, etc., etc., etc. So with this, throughout the indictment, if you want to scroll through, you'll see they consistently mention people over 55, people over 55, people over 55. The reason is if you scam older people, there are harsher penalties, as there should be, because older people are more vulnerable, more susceptible to be like, oh, wait, I didn't realize, like, okay, I thought I was talking to an honest person. You know, I guess the older you get, sometimes the more trusting you become. So for this, any person who's convicted of an offense under blah, 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 all of that in connection with the conduct of telemarketing or email marketing shall be imprisoned for a term for up to 5 years, in addition to any term of imprisonment imposed under any of these sections, respectively. And in the case of an offense under any of these sections that victimizes 10 or more persons over the age of 55. So the law said, if it's just one elderly person, also 55 is not elderly, but whatever. If it's one middle-aged 55 or above person, then, that, they ain't gonna do that for you. But if it's 10 of you, if it's you and everybody else in the nursing home, you can get harsher penalties. So you targeted persons over the age of 55. So are there documents showing that, yes, you specifically were like, oh yeah, Billy, Peggy, Sue, and them, Bertha, all of them, then this will apply as well. So for telemarketing, they have special definitions, like what exactly is telemarketing or email marketing. So I put that in here. So that means you like make a plan, a program, or a campaign that is conducted to induce the purchase of goods or services. And this is or, so as long as you do one of these things, you are a telemarketer. Participation in a contest or sweepstakes. So you guys getting these calls like Cheyenne saying the FBI is calling her, they would fall under telemarketing. Oh, we're going the wrong way. They would fall under telemarketing, charitable contribution, donation, gift, or money, investment for financial profit, participation in a business opportunity, commitment to a loan, participation in a fraudulent medical study, research study, or pilot study. Any type of study is telemarketing. And they really need to ban these people because this is ridiculous. So, yep. All right. So what is going on now in that case? What is happening? So basically, I'm not going to call her Black Jen. They had sent Jen, appropriation Jen, to court, so she's like, okay, I'm going to show up in court. Like I have my arraignment. However, because court is now on Zoom, everybody and their mama, and I was reading an article that was like people just started logging in. They all Zoom bombed it and were like, oh, we're here for the Bravo case. We're here for the Bravo case. Hello. So the poor judge, lawyers, you've seen like the funny videos of the lawyer accidentally put the cat filter on himself. If you haven't seen it, I'll find it and I'll send it to you guys. I put the cat filter on himself. Like, we are not the best, speaking for myself, with technology, which is ironic because y'all know I'm a tech attorney. So the judge was like, can you please mute yourself? Can you please mute yourself? Can you please mute yourself? Not realizing there are dozens, if not hundreds, of random people who like to binge watch reality TV just popping up in their Zoom. So of course they're joking around like, sir, they have no decorum. Like, this is not real court to anybody. They're on Zoom. So because it was so disruptive, they couldn't actually have the first arraignment. So then they finally, had their arraignment, which I'm sure they set it to private, which they should have done in the first place. And they set her bail at $1 million with $250,000 bond. So when they set your bail, you never pay the full amount. Whenever people are like, oh my gosh, the bail is so high, it's a percentage of the bail that people usually pay. It depends on the state. Certain states are higher than other, federal versus state crimes. What was interesting in this case, though, her lawyer asked for a 2-week extension to pay the bond. So that way she wouldn't have to go to jail, which is interesting. Like, where are you going to get $250K from in 2 weeks, Jennifer? I'm just curious. Because clearly not the old alleged way, because that wouldn't really work. So the trial is set for October 18th. But most importantly, I think to some people, is that Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is still filming. And they are filming this entire thing, and they are likely going to put this in their storyline of her being paraded around. Some of the things that came out were that the house that she is in, she's renting, which a lot of people rent on this show. Like, they don't want people in their personal home. But people on Twitter then tried to pull up like her real house, which was a normal like middle class house. So there was nothing wrong with it, but it's this idea that you're pretending to live lavish. You're riding around in a Rentley, doing all of that commotion when none of it is necessary and all of it's fake. My biggest questions, though, are if this is happening 2012, right? Allegedly, according to the indictment, we are now 2021. That means Real Housewives of Salt Lake City aired last year, I think. Last year for the first time, first season. That means when she applied to be a Real Housewife, that they're supposed to look into her financials. So how did they not see any of this? That would be my question. And then also, if I was Bravo, I wouldn't continue to film it knowing that I was supposed to look into this person's financials and may have seen things that I thought were funny and didn't report it. But I'm not Bravo, so they know better than me what sells on TV. So that is that for Jen. Let me go ahead. You know what? I wasn't going to say it, but I don't not think that, Jace. I don't not think that. Hi, Liberated Life. How are you? Here, I'm going to put the call in case you guys want to call. All right. So let me take a sip, actually. How's y'all's Friday going? I know we've had a much rougher week than last week. So hopefully this cheers it up a little bit. All right. So last we have Fire Festival. If you don't know who this man is, you really should Google Fire Festival Andy. Thank you. You should Google Fire Festival Andy because it's the funniest thing I've seen in my life. And actually, if you have nothing to do tonight or this weekend, if you want to do something fun for yourself because you've had a rough week, you should just watch the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix because it's hilarious. It is one of the funniest documentaries, still top 3 of my favorite all times that I've ever seen in my life. And it is just pure foolery. Multiple points of foolery. So why now, I think, 2 years later, are we bringing this up? Because they finally have settled with these people, these very impressionable people that paid upwards of $10,000 for tickets to a festival that had never occurred before, which took place in the Bahamas, because they saw influencers post a green, it wasn't a green, it was orange. It was like an orange square or something. Kylie Jenner, what's one of the Hadids, a bunch of them got in trouble for it too. They basically made a promo video of this. I wish YouTube would let me show it, but they'd probably take it down for copyright. But if you remember, they made that promo video, which was like all exotic. They were in the Bahamas. They were in Exuma. They were by the pigs, the pigs that swim in the water in the Bahamas. They were eating conch. They were, doing colonizer thing, getting fed by local Caribbean people because, whatever. I'm not going to get into that right now because we'll talk about happy things. And yeah, it looked great. It looked like it was going to be this awesome festival. Ja Rule was involved. Who resuscitated him after all these years? The Lord only knows. And it looked great. So people then proceeded to pay upwards of $10,000 for a ticket to fly to the Bahamas. It was lovely. They were going to live lavish. And by people, I mean nothing but rich, young, impressionable people. And then when they got there, it was just raggedy. There was nothing there. There was no infrastructure. They put these people in hurricane tents. It was wild. So then now, all these years later, people have sued and they are getting a grand total of $7,200, which does not cover all the money of them being stranded. They all literally got stranded in this random island in the Bahamas that wasn't really inhabited or wasn't really built up for that many tourists. They scammed the crap out of this poor Bahamian woman who I hope they all paid back, and the money really should have went to her, who felt bad for them and fed them, even though the Fire Festival people did not give her any money. So that, to be honest, that's the only person I cared about in the documentary that should have got her money. The rest of y'all did nonsense, and I said what I said. So yeah, and then in the settlement, it stated that maybe not all of them will get their money because, is his name Billy or Bobby? McFarland. What was the man's name? Hold on. Fire Festival. What's this man's name? Billy McFarland. So Billy McFarland, who was the mastermind of this whole thing, he went to jail, is in jail, has got a 6-year sentence for doing this. And at one part, Liberated Life, I was most appalled by how they treated the native islanders, yes, and kept telling them that they were going to pay them. Yes, these rich white kids, I'm just going to say it, spade is a spade. These rich kids went up to the poor people, and then was like, oh, I'm going to pay you. Can I just have this? And then the nice Caribbean people then were like, of course, baby, you can't be hungry. Let me pay you. Let me give you the food, because who's going to sit there and let somebody starve? Like, that's not in our nature. I didn't watch the whole Hulu doc because it started to make me mad. The Hulu doc is very sad. The Hulu doc focuses on like what they did to the Bahamian people and the local infrastructure and how they made a GoFundMe for her. I hope they gave her all that money and more. It was very trifling. That was the only part of the documentary that I cared about. But other than that, it was very funny to see the rest of those people just do nonsense. I was like, why did you believe this was a thing? Like, what led you to believe that Ja Rule and this man you've never heard of, Billy McFarland, were going to throw a legitimate festival with huge headliners who all pulled out from their fake festival? Child. So yeah. So now they're allegedly going to get $7,200 each. The over 200 people who were harmed during this. There's more than that, but I guess only 200 of them wanted to be in this lawsuit. However, it stipulates that maybe not all of them will get the money. Because where is the money, honey? It's nowhere. The money is nowhere. It literally is nowhere. Liberated Life. The people of the Fire Fest should have to pay the islanders directly. It should not be left up to charity. That was theft. Exactly. It was theft. It was theft and privilege on display. Y'all should really watch the Netflix one. The Hulu one is I've heard it's very good too. It's a harder watch. So like after this week, I know everybody's had a week, particularly the Black community, sending all of you guys a hug, all of us a hug. maybe Hulu next week. But this weekend, if you want to laugh, watch a Netflix one. But yeah, they should definitely pay. They should definitely pay the local Bahamian people them. Especially they ate their conch. Oh, conch is not cheap. Rude. It was nothing but rudeness. But yeah, so actually that was, my whole little spiel for today. So I will go ahead and put the link in here if y'all want to pop in. And if not, I will let y'all go a little early. Like we're in class. Also, so upcoming updates on the channel. I know this week I didn't give you guys an upload. I'm sorry. This week was rough. But I'm going to try out a new series. I think you're going to like it. So we're going to see how that goes. And then coming up, so Jace, thank you for sending it to me. I was actually reading at work. We're going to do the Oracle versus Google Supreme Court case, which I think will be interesting. So back into tech, which I love tech. We're going to talk about APIs in that case. And then if you ever have a case, so like if there are any cases you're interested in now or things that you see, let me know in the comments right now. And then we will go ahead and I'll put them on my list and then we can cover those. And then if you haven't already, you should go ahead and subscribe and like the video. But yeah, let me know. I know you guys asked last time you want more finance topics, so I'm going to work on that for you. And then, yeah, whatever you guys are open to, I'm curious and kind of excited. There was very good response to the Meghan Markle video, so I think we're going to test that water out a little bit. Teresa doing colonizer things. I mean, I take great offense to it. Hello, Jace. How are you?
What's up, sis? I've had a rant about this.
About the Fire Festival people, them?
Yes.
You want to hear something funny before we talk about this? And there's no way they're watching this, so it's fine. One of my coworkers, their sister actually went, and me being me, and the filter is not really there. Like, it's here for y'all. I try, kick a suit, but it's not really there in real life. So when he said this to me, I just burst out laughing and was like,
I would have did the same. Like,
I was like, you weren't gonna garner sympathy out of me for this. I was just like, oh, I just burst out laughing.
Like, me sitting here, West Indianly, like, you want me to feel bad for her? Because that's so.
Like, you're talking to a Caribbean person. I was like, you need to read the room.
Exactly, read the room. So, first of all, as I say pretty much every call, I am West Indian. So, like, when I heard about this happening, number one, I remember watching Kimberly Foster for Harriet's live stream about this, where she was talking about it.
Yeah, I need to watch that. I love her.
Oh my God, me too. I love her. I remember watching the live stream and she was just like, pretty much expressed the same kind of incredulity. It's just like, there are definitely two Americas, because number one, I had no idea this was happening until it started to go wrong. But then number two, Ja Rule.
When he said, I'm just going to pull it up, and then if YouTube doesn't like it, then I'll just take it down when it replays it. When he said, I too was bamboozled, we're going to play that because that brought joy to me. That brought me and my homegirls joy. I was like, you were bamboozled. Sir, how?
More like you bamboozled Black people for 10 plus years, acting like you hood when you're actually suburban. And this is coming from someone who pretty much might as well be suburban. But you know what? That's none of my business.
I mean, so is Clyde's. But hey. People always forget.
It's always the people that no one likes.
I used to like his music. I'm not gonna lie. I did like his music, but I was like, wait a minute, sir, what are you doing?
I mean, it's just like, well, not so much like, but the ones that fall out of favor, like they fall out of favor, and then all their dirty laundry gets spilled out. Because I remember back in the the early 2000s, Ja was everywhere. Like he was in everybody's videos. I remember the first song ever that he did with Ashanti. Was
that What's Love?
Or was? Oh my God! Of course, I'm blanking on the title, but it was "Always There When You Call," but I'm always that one. And I gave you my all. Okay, right. Milo, stop it. But I remember that video. I remember when he did "I'm Real" with Jennifer Lopez before we all hit to the fact that she was, huh?
Before we all realized Ashanti was singing.
She was singing, the fact that literally all of her hits were stolen, that she was I mean, she said the N-word, so we knew she was racist. But like before the internet could cancel her.
Sometimes I'm just like, oh, okay.
Like me and my friends talk about this all the time, but it's interesting hearing stories about the industry from like 10 or so years ago, because it's like none of this stuff could have happened in the age of the internet, and especially call out / cancel culture. Absolutely not. Like, there's no way that, well, let me not say that, because, Kanye was out here scamming people, but like how...
Oh, that man.
Like how we would literally get these, like, there's so many like female artists from like the early 2000s that had like one-hit wonders, and then it came out that they were in like predatory contracts, and it's just like
even now,
Even
now, these contracts are all Meg Thee Stallion's contract.
Oh my God, Meg, that was wild to me. Just seeing that play out was wild to me. Like, but it's crazy hearing about that, and it's just like, oh, well, they went away because of a predatory contract. But getting back on the Fire Festival, it's just like, I feel no remorse for any of the people that signed up for that, because it's just like, number one, I need white people to stay out of the Caribbean. I just need y'all to carte blanche, stay out of the Caribbean. I know the Caribbean runs on tourism, but just one of my homegirls lives in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And
besides the people that are actually Caribbean, because yes, we do have Caribbean white people. That's fine. Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about tourist people that take advantage. It's very different. Just to put that out there.
Right. Yes. Lovely PSA. Because how some people.
I'm like, oh, wait, that's different. They're Caribbean and they feel the same way.
But like, and that's the thing, they feel the same way. But you know how
tourists are ruining the beach, ruining everything, they treat people bad, have the audacity to be like, Jamaicans are so aggressive. Maybe you're soft.
I would be aggressive. Now, number one,
we are very aggressive, but can I just stay at a Cheyenne said, can I stay at a resort in my own sandbox? LOL. To be honest, I don't know why people stay in the resort. I went on a rant on this like a while ago, like on my Instagram, where somebody had made a meme and it was like basically, they have taken slavery and turned it into neo-colonial tourism in the Caribbean. And I was like, oh, I felt that a little too much in my spirit. And I really take offense to people that go to the Caribbean and say, I can't leave the resort. It's very dangerous. Then don't come if you feel that way.
It's only dangerous to you because, number one, you're over here. Like, number one, see, this is something like, girl, I almost just revealed where I used to work.
Throw the flags, if you're a Caribbean. Throw the flags. I love to see the flags. Hi, Karine. Hi, Sister. But like, it's not dangerous. Like, it's not that dangerous. Like, I'm tired of people being like, Jamaica's so dangerous. Like, New York is dangerous.
It's not dangerous. You're stupid.
Like, bad things happen everywhere. It's not inherently dangerous place. And if you are uncomfortable about the local people that live in a place, then you should not go to then have the local people that live in a place serve you. It's just very weird to me.
It is. And it's like, it's just very, this is something that I used to run into a lot at my old job, because as I talk about a lot, I used to work in a theme park, and I would just have people roll through with just like money, like just roll through looking like straight up money. And it's like, number one, you're in a theme park in Florida, honey. It is 95 degrees outside. Have fun. Like, you look cute, but like, have fun in an hour. You are going to be out here looking a mess. But number two, it's just like, no wonder you feel uncomfortable. You have all these markers of wealth on you. Of course, people are going to try you. Sis, if you went home to your freaking neighborhood, people would try you if you ran into the wrong people. I don't know why you over here. And the thing is that the theme park I used to work at, so the city I live in, it's not like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's not like, the city's poor or anything, because where the actual park is at, it's situated in a fairly affluent place. But like the city at large, it's not like a Tampa or Orlando where it's like, big ballin' metropolitan area. So it's just like, who are you flexing to? Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, why would you bring all that to a place where just driving through here, you can see that there are a lot of places that, not to say that they are like active slums in the area, but like, you can tell it's not like rich, upper middle class people. Like, it's just not. It's a lot of working class people. And so it's like, you're over here talking about how uncomfortable you feel. You're over here walking around wearing $10,000 worth of clothing, jewelry, shoes. Like, girl, I'm not that type of person, but I'd be looking at some of these people like, you set your watch down, you're not getting it back.
People do silly things and then get confused when other people don't react in the way they want.
Exactly. Like, I'm not gonna sit here, like, use common sense, basically. But like, you're over here, like, number one, the fact, this is how I know that, getting back on topic of Fire Festival, like Kimberly was saying, girl, you know me, I be out here, do. But like, getting back on the topic of Fire Festival, what Kimberly said about the two worlds is that not only did most of us people who actually live in reality know about Fire Festival until things started to melt down, most of us who actually know who Ja Rule is would have seen that and been like, nope. Nope. Like,
because it didn't make any sense. It was like the people they were booking, which I can't remember for the life of me, like who the headliners was. It didn't make any sense. It was like, why would this person sign up to this unknown festival? And then the artists then were like, they said beforehand, like, hey, I didn't get paid. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. The minute the artist said that, I would have been like, I'm not going to the Bahamas. So they said they're not coming because they didn't get paid.
Right. And then it's like, this is like, and then it's the fact that this has never been done before. This is the first Fire Festival. You're over here and not even, like, the island wasn't, like, it's small population on the island. It's not set up for, like, this big,
there's no infrastructure for that.
Right. And then, like, you expect lavishness? Like, wait. Like, festivals like Coachella, those take years to plan. And it's like festivals like that, they're like 20, 30 years in the making. Like, I don't know how old Coachella is exactly, but like the infrastructure is already there. But I can bet that it took the better part of like 5 or so years for them to get everything together to throw the first Coachella, to get that done. Because there's so many different moving parts, different stages, different like areas during that. And I'm assuming they were going to try to do the same thing during Fire Festival. So it's just like,
we're all at a loss. I guess now it's put behind us. I guess until he comes out of jail, because he was also trying to scam while in jail, which the hubris of that is wild. Wild.
And that is what you call white male privilege.
Ciao.
Because I'm scared. Like, girl.
What, a white boy summer? You're not ready? Did you see that from Chet Hanks? The silence shows me you did see it, and that you do not want it to happen either. I saw that and I was like, sir, there are a lot of things wrong with this statement. You know, Sheree Monique said Coachella isn't even lavish. It's dusty and nasty, child, even for VIPs. That's what I thought. So I have eczema. So the eczema in me can all, and I'm just like, there just looks like it's a lot of sandstorm up in here. I'm glad. My friend tried to talk me into it one year, and I was like, I don't know about this. Why does everybody have on boots? I was like, y'all trying to scam me. That's what I thought.
I have somewhat sensitive skin, but I mostly just have dry skin, and like, you're not getting me to go out to no desert where like, I don't want to go to any kind of music festival because like, ew.
Afropunk, I went to Afropunk when Solange was the headliner, and that was awesome. But other than that, I'm just like, I don't really know about the whole festival dirty experience. I think that's part of the experience is to be dirty, and I'm like, but why?
Exactly.
Why do I want people to be dirty?
Exactly. Ew. That's nasty.
That's not for me. That's
it's
really
not
for me.
It's not for me either. Like, my parents raised me to be too clean for that. Like, I'm a messy person, but like,
come on, Saster at the Bayesian flag. Yes. Well, yeah, it's not made for it. Like even Afropunk, I was like, okay, is this all day? Like, okay, I'm gonna get there. Like, okay, all right. Not for the dirtiness, but they had a lot of grass. I was like, okay, there's grass, it's fine.
Right.
Well,
even then.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, do they have indoor festivals? That's a concert, right? Okay, I think that's correct.
That's for me. That's for me. Or I can watch the live stream.
Yeah, I need something indoors. For those of you in New York, what's the name of that place? They're not open right now. It's like it's in Bushwick / Williamsburg. I like that place. Shit, I'm forgetting the name right now. But there's like a place that they don't do like full on festivals. They do concerts. It's like an open roof, but it's technically semi-indoor that I really like. Yes, pray for St. Vincent. For all of you not aware, unfortunately, St. Vincent is experiencing a huge natural disaster. Their volcano erupted. So definitely.
That's
sad. And it's not getting the coverage it should get. It's like, not to point my finger at the French, but the damn cathedral that nobody was in caught on fire, and whoo, the people in St. Vincent are 20,000 people displaced, and crickets.
I didn't even hear that through the news. I heard about that through my friend that lives in Jamaica.
Same, I heard about it through other Caribbean people.
And that actually led to a whole rant about education because the college that a lot of students down there go to, so they're having this big national so first of all, a lot of people that go to UWI, I don't know if you've ever heard of UWI, but they go to UWI and they're already at home except certain majors who have to be on campus because of, and they're barely handing out extensions to those students and they have to apply to them. And I'm just like, I was already on the FUE train just because of the way they were treating my friend and their students. Like, we were literally we are in this group chat together and she was pretty much telling us everything that was going on when who showed up. And it was like a big mess. And I was already on the FUE train there, but then I was just like, so you mean to tell me all of these students got other things to worry about right now? They're literally being displaced from their homes, have no thoughts about school or anything, and you have to make them apply for this extension, and it's barely anything. And like, these are all like STEM majors too. I don't know if that's all they offer, but that's the program my friend is in. And I'm just like,
okay, I didn't know like people called it UE. I was like, somebody said it in the comments.
UWI. But that set me off. That really set me off because I'm just like, if you could, I wish I had a webcam right now if you could see my face or if I could like post a meme to describe my mood, but I'm just like, sharpens nails with knife. Really hope nothing bad happens to any of the officials. Sure hope nothing bad happens to them.
Oh gosh, we shall see. Well,
But yeah.
thank you, lovely, for calling in. I appreciate you.
Thank you for letting me rant for the millionth time.
Of course. It's open space if you guys want to rant. If you're having a day, call in, rant. Well, actually, we're about to go. Not Andrew. Somebody's talking about our prime minister. Child, I thought I'm gonna keep my thoughts there. He's not awful. I actually saw him when I went, highlight of my freaking life, to the 2016 Olympics. That was my bar trip to watch Usain Bolt's last run. That was the fucking best. Ooh, my language. Well, it was the effing best. My brother and I went. It was great. And I spent all my little pennies to sit right in the front. Was the highlight. It was awesome. But yes, Mr. Andrew was there as well.
Thank you, sis. I'll catch you later.
Sounds good. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, y'all. Well, thank you. And thank you, Jace, for calling in. I appreciate you. So yeah, on that note, I will be back next week. Let me know what you guys want to cover. Also, if you guys just want to do like a chit chat on like other things, we can do that too. Open to that. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good weekend and stay safe. Hopefully your weekend is better than this week was. And then yeah, thank you all. Bye.